All right, Erin, stand by. You're live on video. We'll go live on audio in a second.
Okay.
All right, good day and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Live the Fuel podcast show. So I am bringing on a repeat co-host, not just any repeat co-host. She actually hasn't been on in a few months, and I got very upset. I was missing her. And she's a regular, normally a regular co-host. We try and get her on every month but she's such a busy, hustling professional. She's a sports nutritionist, not just any sports nutritionist, but she's based right here where I live in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. She's good friends and just mutual healthy lifestyle colleagues between myself and our other regular co-host, Dr. Megan Cannon, the sports psychologist. So again, this young lady, sports nutritionist, knows her way around the aisles in the grocery store and the kitchen, mind you, from the photos I follow online. Without further ado, welcome back to the show, Erin Sparrold.
Hey, Scott. Thank you so much for having me back. Sorry, it's been a couple months. I've missed you too. It's been a little busy.
You know, you're like power mom. You're out there like working with all these athletic teams. It's a thing. Like
it's a whole big thing. Yeah, I keep pretty busy.
and so we're airing this show in September of 2018.
Yep.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff happening. Are you still, besides just being workout buddies with Megan and doing Ragnars together, because we've talked about that. Actually, we just aired her second part when she and I did the like live over dinner at Core Life double episode session, and we talked a lot about what you guys did with the Ragnar race up in Niagara Falls. So
I didn't get to do that one with her. The single mom life got a hold of me and I couldn't go.
Weren't you supposed to be on the team?
I was supposed to be on the team, but I ended up having childcare stuff and I had to stay home with my kids.
See, I love this. This is real. Like, okay,
it's real. My life is real.
Moms and dads, the single parents, or just whatever, like schedules happen. It's wow. Okay. Well, I'm sorry you missed that, but you've done Ragnar before, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've done 7 of them.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
I got it.
I've only done 1 Ragnar, so you got me beat on that. So. In the interest of a healthy episode today, I was joking around before we started this show. We've had so much rain where we're living here, and that it's just been hard to get out and mountain bike. And I already knew from the past like 2-3 weeks of storms here in our local area, Erin can attest, there's been flooding and just flooding. We'll just go with flooding square.
Some flooding. Yeah. With a little bit more flooding.
And my local park here in Allentown is Jordan Creek Park, and I take care of the trails there with other volunteers. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get up early. I'm going to take our Calvin the Coonhound down there. He loves to howl at every freaking tree possible.
The trees.
Oh, yeah. It's like there's no squirrel.
That's a lot of howling.
There's no squirrel in the tree, but let's go ahead and howl at it just in case. He's just – I think he howls just to hear his voice echoing. I think that's what he's doing. I think he's listening to himself. I don't know. It's a thing. So – normally I bike in, but I knew that the trails are super, super wet. The creek just started subsiding. It was twice. It was over the banks. The trails are a mess. I was like, I'm going to hike in my little backpack chainsaw because that's what I do. I'm weird like that. And sure enough, I found a nice trifecta of trees who collapsed on each other, blocking the trail. And then I spent 3 hours this morning playing with that. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And all I did in the morning, you'll appreciate this, is I did my shot of olive oil, my healthy fats, and then I made my fatty coffee.
Okay. You use MCT or coconut?
I actually went with heavy whipping cream.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Just to change it up.
So yummy. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so good.
So good.
Oh, so good. So I get really excited for fatty coffee. That's right, people. No sugar. Okay. When you get your body properly fat adapted and you remove the excess sugars from your life, you get to burn long and hot, meaning hot energy cycle. And I am that guy. So
nice fuel density.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's all I did. So I'm finally starting to get hungry now. It is, let's see, that was from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're recording now approaching 1 p.m. And I decided real quick to bust out some of my lovely pili nuts. I do.
You're constantly posting about those. You've got to hook me up with some. I've got to try them.
I'm going to place an order. Wait, after all this time us podcasting together, you still haven't tried them? I have a discount code for our listeners.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So listeners.
Friend podcast host fail.
Okay, it's okay. Okay. You know what? I'm going to put an order in. I have another friend who wants to try them, so I'm ordering extra. And I haven't paid for them in a while because they ship me some free stuff every once in a while. So it pays to have a podcast, get some free snacks. So
I understand that.
I'm going to eat some right now. So
you do that because don't tell a nutritionist you haven't eaten that long after that kind of a workload, or you'll start to get a lecture. Even though you're burning healthy fats, you still got to replenish after you train.
I agree, but I also do a lot of intermittent fasting. So I like to do an extended fast in the morning, and then I start crushing food the rest of the day. But that's my thing. But I've also been doing it a while. We've talked about that on past episodes you've been on, like, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a little experience in this. So you don't just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do what Scott did. I'm just going to wake up tomorrow morning, not do a shot of olive oil because everybody thinks that's crazy, but maybe I'll try the fatty coffee, and then I'm just going to go as long as I can and see how I feel. Well, easier said than done. You gotta
train your metabolism.
Thank you. So like me, as you can hear, my energy levels are amazing, and I sweated my butt off. Now, granted, before I went down there, I took actually my client, he's now a client, by the way. We've talked about Vinny Tortorich, who owns the trademark NSNG, no sugar, no grains. So his vitamin company, he's obsessed with purity. He launched the purest electrolyte that I've ever seen because it's made with the ancient salts from the salt mines underneath Utah, when Utah used to be an ocean or like whatever. So it actually has, their salts in that mine has more mineral density than pink Himalayan sea salt.
Has he done assays on it? I'd love to see it.
I have no idea. I just know that I could text you later, like a picture of it. It's on their website and stuff, but I could send you like the back of the bottle, because they basically did the pure salts, and a little magnesium and something else. Like, that's it. So the beauty is, it's like, everybody doesn't realize, like, I hydrate like crazy, but because I'm athletic and it's humid today, I was like, I know I'm gonna be down there sweating. Like, I already took another one before the show because I'm like, it can't hurt. I'm just going to sweat it out. So
yeah, I like hearing that.
So he's up. They're actually sponsoring a race literally today as we're recording this in Exeter, California. It's called the Hell of a Half Marathon because it's really hot there. Like, it's usually always over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And they just got done sponsoring the ultra race in Death Valley last month, and with the same supplement. They basically, every single racer got that actually a couple weeks before the race so they could try it.
And preload, yeah.
Right. And also just to adapt the body, right? Because as a nutritionist, would you agree, when you're coming up on a race event, you don't just magically try a new supplement that you've never put in your body before.
Nothing new on race day.
Because they gave it to you in your goodie bag when you showed up at registration.
Nothing new on race day. Yes, try it out before.
Can we say that again?
Nothing new on race day. Yeah, I have a friend who does that. She's probably got one of the most sensitive stomachs, and she's on our Ragnar team, and she can't help herself. When we're at Ragnar and we're at these events, she's going around all these different booths trying stuff, and I'm like, what? And then later she's got a stomach ache. I'm like, dude, stop. Nothing new on race day. Especially
because a lot of the race events, they're being sponsored. And I'm sorry, a lot of these supplementations or endurance sports snacks are just loaded with sugar. And these syrups and corn syrups and everything else. It's like, that's going to jack your gut up.
They really can. There are times you need something high glycemic, but like those higher sugar things, there are times. But unfortunately, they've been marketed to everybody. They have a place, but they're not great. They can really jack your stomach up, especially if that's all you're depending on for fuel on course. You're going to be in trouble.
So on that theme, because you and I briefly chatted before we hit record today, and we're going to try and do this like shorter power session where we break up, and we're going to bang out like two mini episodes today to help you with your schedule, because it's hard for us to catch up.
Yep.
Megan's liking it. So you hinted at the importance of discussing the seasonal sports shift when it comes to nutrition. Well, kind of what we just talked about was how I supplement or care about my nutrition in a spring event compared to a fall event or a summer event is different for me.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Thermoregulation and your body's core temperature, especially when it comes to hydration and absorbability of fuel from your gut. When your core temperature is higher, you have to alter how you fuel yourself. If there's too much sugar in your hydration or too much sugar in your fueling, you tend to keep all that fuel and water in your gut and you end up with GI distress. So you want to pull back. Most people want to pull back on their sugar consumption on course. Well, let's just say most people should pull back on their sugar consumption.
In general?
Period.
But what you're saying is stop drinking Gatorade. I have no problem calling them out on this show.
Yeah.
Terrible product. It's not, if this was 20 years ago, there was actually more electrolytes in it 20 years ago. Now it's just a watery sugar bomb.
It is. And it's unfortunate. And the thing is, when you work with a lot of schools and a lot of programs, these bigger companies sponsor those programs. So that's when a lot of these athletes, that's all they have available to them. So that's the case, hydration and electrolytes are better than none. Mm-hmm. So if all you have available to you is a Gatorade, that's better than nothing. But if you can get away from that sugar, you're going to hydrate yourself better. You're going to have less GI distress if you're consuming less sugar with your hydration. What Gatorade did was they tried to put fuel and hydration together rather than keeping them separate, and that can overstress the gut. So you want your hydration and your fueling to be different and separate. It wasn't a bad thought to start with, but we didn't understand the digestive and the exercise physiology then that we do now.
Oh my God, there's so much tied to your gut health.
Evolved so much, and just general health and our understanding of the impact and the negative impacts that sugars have on our system. And again, like I said, there are times, if you're out on an Ironman course and you're out there for 17 hours, sometimes you've got to spike your blood sugar. You've got to get your sugar up because you're tanking out. Sometimes you need that. But somebody who's out for a couple of hours, you don't need that sugar.
That's part of the frustration for me is that like Men's Health, Women's Health, all these different athletic magazines, they're coming out with different issues every month. And I think they do try and adapt the magazine depending on the time of year. I personally tell people to stop buying the magazines. I'm no longer that magazine guy, but that's just me because it's all sponsored stuff. So there's money influencing what's going into the content. And I just, I read this stuff and I'm like, it's not accurate. Right. So to your point, it's like, okay, you're promoting this supplement or this snack bar in the winter or the spring. And now you're promoting this supplement, this snack bar in the summer, for example. And whereas then you got companies like Gatorade who is to say, oh, you can use this year round. But what you just gave us a hint on was that they're saying, oh, this is great for Ironman athletes, so it's going to be great for a 5K athlete. Or this is great for a pro football player or a rugby player, so this has got to be great for the kid football player. No. Mm-mm. These are extremely different spectrums of athletic performance and sports, let alone the time of year, right?
Yeah. When you apply, and we were talking about, seasonal changes, there's so much. I break sport nutrition down into two different pieces of a puzzle. You've got your daily nutrition, what you kind of do every single day to support your basic foundational health. And then beyond that, you have the second piece, which is the sport periodized piece of the puzzle. And that piece of the puzzle, Scott, that changes. For some athletes, it's day to day, it's hour to hour, how they're fueling their body to meet what they need. And then you have, so if you were to take like the top level layer of it, you're looking at seasonal. Okay, what are you doing right now for your season? Are you in a build phase? Are you in a competitive phase? Are you in a recovery phase? Are you coming off of a heavy load season and you got to give your body some recovery time? That changes how you fuel yourself. But then even within those individual seasons, if you're in a build phase, are you doing an aerobic heavy day or an anaerobic heavy day? Are you lifting hard? Are you recovering? All of that breaks down, and how you fuel yourself changes day to day. And then if you throw on top of that seasonal stressors like the heat and the humidity, that changes things as well. So, I was listening to you tell me what you did this morning, and instantly in my mind I'm going, you're saying he said he drinks a lot of water. I hope he starts to mention electrolytes, because
which is why I did that
right now with this intense heat.
Plus,
we can't thermoregulate as well.
These pili nuts are, by the way, covered in coconut oil and Himalayan sea salt. I will definitely get you some of these. Don't worry. So
okay.
This is my crack, my health crack.
Salt's one of those things. For a long time,
they got a bad rap.
We've had to talk people off the ledge with fats for years. And now I find myself, especially with athletes, having to talk people off the ledge with salt. Our nervous system, our heart would not beat if we didn't have enough sodium in our system. Sodium is not the devil. It can be bad for you if you have hypertension, if you've got diagnosed hypertension, but if you are an athlete, you need more sodium.
Do you remember when oh God, is it last year or was it 2016? But remember when I had you, and then I had Dr. Anthony J, and then I had the paleocardiologist, Dr. Wolfson. We had 3 back-to-back shows we aired ripping on AHA.
Oh, yeah.
When the president of the AHA released that completely erroneous article about how coconut oil is unhealthy. So that's just one example. But then it's also the AHA that has spent years publishing content around how excessive salt is not good for all that. I'm like, guys, like the body is 70+% water.
And we regulate our osmotic pressures with sodium and potassium. Yeah. Our nervous system operates with sodium and potassium. If we don't have them, it doesn't work. But that being said, we as a society consume way too much processed foods, which are loaded with too much salt, and then you have a sedentary lifestyle. The processed foods, because it's a preservative.
Thank you. There we go. So, important reminder, guys, like she's hinting if you're eating a lot of processed food, which unfortunately a lot of people are. Me, no.
I've had athletes who switched to clean eating, and they're like, I'm cramping. I'm like, you've got to start salting your food more. They're like, salt? I'm like, you have to start adding it. You've removed all these processed foods. You may need to intentionally add salt so that you stop cramping. And they're going for the potassium. They're eating the bananas because that's what people go to. But we use more sodium than we do the other electrolytes.
Well, and admittedly,
processed foods, you might be cramping because of it.
As an endurance athlete, I was obsessed with the banana thing. Like every running event and cycling event had bananas. Well, for the past, now it's over a year. I went hardcore into this trying to reprogram my body, and I wanted to test how it performed, cutting as much of the excessive sugar out, and just to see how because the body literally will produce what it needs. And
metabolic flexibility.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I don't people don't realize that the glycemic index of a banana is really up there. So, but people are like, oh, what's potassium? I'm like, do you know how many other amazing sources you can get for potassium?
Avocados.
I love avocados, and it is a fatty fruit. Healthy fats.
Loaded with healthy fats. I'm not anti-banana, but I'm not like, eat all the bananas. I mean, there's times when they can be really beneficial, but it's...
Well, portion control, to your point, right? Seasonal shift. Would you say, okay, this is me. I'm very extreme. So if I'm baby stepping somebody and I'm not, you're the professional. So I'm just coaching people. I tell people always go to the experts, but in the end, would you agree that from a glycemic perspective, if you're consuming bananas and you're just an average person, average athlete, and you may shift the answer depending on the time of the year.
Or what they just did.
Right. A banana, the entire piece of fruit, is actually too much of a serving. I've done a lot of research, and really half of the banana is all you need if you did something athletic to justify it. Right?
Yes. Periodizing your carbohydrates. Okay, let's break it. So periodizing your carbohydrates, you want to stack your carbohydrates, the higher glycemic carbohydrates, a little bit more pre, a little bit more post. If you're a woman, you need a little bit more because we just need a little bit more carbohydrate in our recovery. So, but yeah, to your point, a half a banana is plenty. And I always encourage my clients, we as consumers tend to go for the bigger bananas. We like to get that idea that we're getting this like Ganga deal or whatever, but go for the smaller portion. You don't need the larger bananas. And if you're getting the larger bananas, just consume half of it. And then when you're consuming it, have it with proteins and fats in recovery. I only like proteins pre, not fats pre, but in recovery.
And why are you adding proteins and fats?
To decrease the glycemic effect of the banana so that you're not
because fats balance the sugar, right?
And so do the proteins. It decreases the glycemic effect.
There we go. See, you're hearing all kinds of hacks today, people. The sad thing is, maybe I should not be using the word hack. I think it's overly used. And let me correct myself. This shouldn't be a hack. This is really nutrition 101.
Yeah.
right? But I mean, people don't realize that they're consuming so much sugar, or back to our earlier point, so many manufactured foods, not with healthy salt sources, because they're just jacked full of preservatives for shelf life. That's why.
Sugar and salt. Yep.
Yeah. So I would rather cut all the manufactured foods, cut the excessive, because again, that's the other problem with those types of foods too, is they do have a lot of sugar and a lot of salt incorporated in. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, you can't always buy fresh whole food all the time, right? But there is a better choice to be made from time to time. We still, you and I still need to go do a live shopping episode.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that. Let's make that be a thing.
That has to be a priority, because like, I'd love to, because like I'm such a minimalist when I shop. I'd be just intrigued to see how you and I would shop differently.
Yeah, because I have to feed little people. I still have kids that I have to keep happy, and they don't eat as much as people would like to think, that because they're the children of a nutritionist, they're also normal human beings, and they have their own opinions, and they do not eat kale willingly. So they are normal. So
you got to adapt. You got to adapt.
Got to work with reality.
You don't need to reward them with like a bowl of Count Chocula.
Oh, no.
I don't know what. I ate that when I was a kid.
Me too, and blueberry. Yeah.
And what was the pink one? Frankenberry.
Oh, I didn't eat that one. No, I ate the blue and the chocolate.
The Frankenberry had like a strawberry. Well, I thought it was strawberry. That was just a chemical connotation that made you think it was strawberry. I know. Like I think back now and I'm like, dear God.
Yeah.
Like I was eating such manufactured junk when I grew up on a farm. Like my parents made eggs and bacon all the time, and now that's all I eat.
I know. It's, as a mom, and a human being, there's a balance to all of this. You don't want to create an unhealthy or a fearful relationship with food, and I don't want to do that to my kids. So they have stuff like that I've never bought that kind of cereal, honestly, but they have other things like cookies or ice cream. I'll make homemade cookies. I'll make homemade brownies.
So are you adapting this equation to them as well? The whole daily, because I mean, they're kids, but I'm sure you probably have athletic kids. So do you have to do the whole daily versus sport periodization piece too?
Gosh, that's a great question. My oldest is not so athletic anymore. My middle guy, yes. He's the one that keeps me hopping. And he's a puzzling one, to be totally fair. And I work with a lot of teenage athletes. So I have a lot of empathy for the parents trying to do the best that they can for their kids, because kids don't always comply. And he's one that doesn't eat. My middle guy, he's my most active, but he doesn't eat breakfast. He'll leave, he won't eat breakfast. And so I've had to adapt his world and prep his world so that he has food and fuel available when he's willing to eat. So he has shakes, like Orgain shakes in his locker. He's got beef jerky in his locker. He's got peanuts in his locker. He's got all these foods so that he can grab and assemble fuelings on a regular basis. And I've had to educate him how to do that, because he doesn't want to eat the school food and he doesn't pack a lunch.
That's a whole different podcast. I've had to create
healthy islands for him in his world so he will eat.
Ooh, healthy islands. I like that.
Okay.
So with the healthy islands, how would you tie that back to this important point on this seasonal shift in sports, right? Because would you say your healthy islands that an athlete should be setting aside is also going to differ in the spring, summer, winter?
This is a huge thing, I feel, especially with student athletes going back to school right now. Right now they're at home. A lot of them are doing preseason training, so they've got 2-a-days. They've got the heavy training loads right now, but they've got readily accessible food at home continually whenever they want it. They're about to go to school, and that's about to change. And some of them will have lunch at 10 a.m. and practice at 3, so their schedules are going to start to get a little nutty. So right now I'm spending a lot of time with my athletes encouraging them to think ahead and start prepping ahead and planning ahead and creating these healthy islands for themselves. Stock your locker, stock your backpack, put things in your training bag so that you have fuel available when you need it. And then coaching them through, if they pack a lunch, what to pack, if they eat at the cafeteria, what to try and grab to assemble good fueling, which is hard to do, honestly, with school cafeterias. But if I can get them to pack, I prefer them to pack. But creating these healthy islands, especially with these student athletes, even college, because I'll have some of my college athletes, my wrestlers out at Lehigh, they'll have lunch at noon, and then a lot of times they have labs right up until they have to practice. So they've got like a 4 or 5 hour window where they don't get to have a chance to have any fuel.
And a lot of people
trying to make sure we get those islands met, so when they're between a class, they have something that they can eat really quick.
That's why, I mean, again, if I was back in school and I knew what I know now, like I'm a gear guy. Like instead of getting a traditional like backpack or duffel bag, usually in college and university.
You are a gear person. We've had this conversation before.
It's obsessive. Like,
it's all about the toys.
Quick pause.
Okay.
Traditionally, this mug just had a regular lid on this mug.
Okay.
But then I found out that they released a 2-in-1, so now I can drink right out of it. I just added this on yesterday, so I was like, Yeti is awesome.
Yeah, I have my first Yeti. I love it.
Anyway, so yeah, although that was like a $15 upgrade, but I use this mug all the time because I have it branded, and I want, but before it was always wide mouth and I'd spill all over myself driving down the road. Now it's more sport friendly. So latest gear.
The wide mouth, that is really cool. The wide mouth.
Right? There you go.
Yep. I would be wearing it 90% of the time.
All of this stuff is linked, ladies and gentlemen, on my Amazon influencer page, which is now linked from the website. So if you see an Amazon banner on livethefuel.com, it takes you to my influencer page. All the gear that I buy now gets tagged on there.
Nice.
And if you want to support the show,
smart man,
I've never asked for sponsorship. I tell people now, if you love the show and you want to send me a couple of pennies, Amazon will take it. You are not paying any more, but when you use my banner before you go shopping on Amazon and whatever you buy, because you clicked through the banner on my site, whether you buy the stuff off the influencer page or whatever, it's like they give you a tiny little taste. And it's like, hey, thank you, Scott, for driving traffic to Amazon. Well, let's be real. Everybody's going to go on Amazon anyways. It's like, hey, like hook us up, like, because it costs me a lot of money to run this show, but I've just never asked for any help. And I was like, well, if I can get a few pennies, that'd be nice to help pay for improvements of the show and stuff. But in the end, I'm going to buy it anyway.
And it helps people too. It cuts out it gives, you suggest products, you give ideas, and then people can find it easily rather than having.
I am the gear tester. Like, trust me, if I'm recommending a piece of gear, I am anal. I will test the crap out of it.
Okay.
So, yes. So anyway, back on point.
All right.
I wish I would have had access to what, like you were talking about packing a lunch or packing your food before you leave the house. First of all, so much more cost effective. If you're trying to buy stuff on the go, costs so much more. It may not be as fresh. At least you know from home how to source stuff. But man, I wish I would have had a meal prep backpack that I have access to now. Like now when I go if I'm doing a weekend CrossFit competition or something like that, trust me, I got the gear, man. I'm there. I got all my food prepped out in my Tupperware and my duffel bag or my backpack. And
it is such a liability relying on restaurants and other food when you have competition. You need to eat what your body's used to eating. And so many athletes go away and they eat at a restaurant and they just don't feel right. Yeah, totally. And
especially if you've done a great job cleaning up the excess sugar. Like the restaurants don't. The biggest thing I teach people, salad dressing. Oh my God, one of the most processed things. Most restaurants do not make their own salad dressing. And if they are, they're going to add sugar into that because that's what they're trying to appeal to your palate. They're getting you hooked.
They're not there to make you healthy. Not all restaurants. There are some that have changed their business model.
Oh, like Core Life is awesome.
Yeah, but they're there to make you feel indulged and happy and enjoy your meal, and it's not about making you healthy. So yeah, adding sugars is definitely one of the ways. They want you to come back for more. But again, most restaurants, they're buying their ranch and blue cheese and all those salad dressings that have already been mass manufactured because it's cheaper for overhead costs. The problem with all of those things is that they're riddled with something very, very not good for your health, which is corn syrup. Vegetable-based oils, not good for us. Okay? I make all of my own salad dressings, and I've gotten to be such a salad snob at this point because I don't like other people's salads as much as, except for Core Life. Shout out to Core Life. They've got good stuff.
They got good stuff.
I go other places, and even Whole Foods, I'm like, yeah, my salad dressings are better.
I don't even use dressing. I mean, you've heard me preach about Villa Capelli olive oil from Italy. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, the peppery finish on that olive oil, the stuff I take shots of every morning, that's all I put on. I put that on the salad.
I like that tang of the vinegar too.
Well, okay, if you're using, ladies and gentlemen, not balsamic vinegar, because that is actually, we don't realize balsamic vinegar is actually sweetened, or it's because
it does have sugar in it.
Yeah. So like a red wine vinegar, for example, is sourced differently and made differently. So that's a great little hack too. So, well, listen, we're doing these short power episodes. It's weird. Like, we're going to adapt to this, but I think it's important. Like, we hit on, when you're doing your nutrition, daily is different than obviously what's required for sport periodization.
Yeah. Daily is your foundation. The sport periodization, that changes with what you're doing day to day and within your training cycle. Yep.
Okay. And then love the create healthy islands, whether we're talking about kids or collegiate athletes, right?
Or even adults. When you're at the office, set up your environment for success. Have healthy snacks at the office so you don't go to the donuts and bagels.
Ooh, yes. You're going to the grocery store already. Like, what kind of fun, healthy snacks do you have access to? Because if you don't have access to that healthy island, and then all of a sudden, because you haven't gotten off the sugar train yet, you're going to have those spikes, and all of a sudden you're feeling the hunger, because that's what the balance.
With a plate of donuts,
right? Mm-hmm. But if I got a nice bag of as minimal sugar as possible jerky, for example, I have like 1 or 2 pieces of jerky. I'm good, right? That's the fats and the proteins. I'm satiated. That sugary battle between leptin and ghrelin hormones that are the hunger hormones is actually subsided. So good.
It is good. So we can dive into podcast number 2.
What are we thinking?
A little preview. I'm thinking helping people with some tools to create those islands and plan ahead and prep ahead.
I'm liking this. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for having fun with this new shorter format. Like I said, we hit on daily foundation, your sport periodization, creating healthy islands. So stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to dig in deeper and do much more a deep dive, because that's what Erin does. She's good at this. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you can find her online. I'm going to do some screen sharing real quick for the video feed. Instagram is always awesome for image.
Oh, there's my kids' art. Yeah.
Right? They made that?
Yeah, that was my 12-year-old did that.
Okay, I can't even do that. That's actually pretty impressive.
He's really talented.
Wow.
I'm sorry, proud mom moment.
Okay, so Instagram, if you want to go check out her kids' art, you want to check out coconut oil, you check out her son's, look at the cooking there. Oh, Erin picked up her first road bike. I'm very excited for you for your triathlon training.
Yeah.
But again, pool training, you can see her lifestyle. Oh yeah, that's right. Your kid is an artist, because that Spider-Man one is awesome. So
you should see the Joker Batman. I'll text it over to you next. He just did that the other day. It's insane.
But I mean,
12. Sorry. Proud mom moment again. He's
12. Wow. 12. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, besides having a very artistic child, but her Instagram feed is always sharing nice little healthy snacks, meals. I know you do some of these occasional cooking events at that one olive oil store and stuff. So you share stuff from that event. So again, make sure you follow her at Erin Sparrold. So ErinSparrold. All of this will be linked in the show notes. Same thing on Facebook. You can find her at Erin Smith Sparrold on Facebook as well. So again, ladies and gentlemen, our regular sports nutritionist co-host, rocking the mic once again. Tune in to the next episode. We're going to dig deeper into this stuff. But again, this is what the show is all about. We're trying to help you guys balance your health, your business, your lifestyle. Nutrition is such a crucial foundation. So she dropped the mic as always. Thanks for tuning in. Listen to the next episode. Follow her at Erin Sparrold. And again, we're here to fuel your health, business, lifestyle. So you too can live the fuel. Let's do this. Talk to you guys again soon.